tell whoever would listen, man, go to the doctor. And if you're a Black man, your doctor's probably not going to choose to do it. You're probably going to have to request it, but you need to go in there and say, hey, can I get a PSA test? It's just a blood test.
Welcome back to the Express Yourself Black Man podcast. My name is Kizzle or Kofi, and I'm a mental health advocate, public speaker, and founder of a Kizzle brand, which is a project aimed at raising awareness for depression and helping people through difficult times. Studies show that on average, men lose 2.8 years of their life when they're under heavy stress. The point of this podcast is for me to gain those 2.8 years back. As a Black man, society often tries to tell me what I can't do, or talk about, which can often leave me feeling trapped. And so this podcast is my release. So I'm here with Mical. Mical is a prostate cancer survivor and honestly a big advocate. And I think it was dope that you reached out for us to do a podcast episode on it, because I know a lot of people don't talk about prostate cancer, don't talk about going to the doctor, bro. So please, before we even get started on the whole prostate cancer thing, can you please just tell people a little bit about you and just your story?
Okay, so well, before I jump into that, I want to definitely say, thank you for having me on your show.
Absolutely.
I'm not gonna front. I'm sitting here, my heart is kind of beating.
Nah.
This is a big deal. So, but anyway, I really appreciate it. I definitely, like I told you before, I feel like you have a great platform, for men who need to hear this story, and
right.
So I was 37 in 2018, November of 2018, I was 37 years old. I went to the doctor for an annual physical, just my annual visit. The thing about this appointment, my doctor, it was my first visit with this doctor from moving from Houston to Austin. So I found a new doctor in Austin. First visit, so she had to get my family history. At that time, I knew about cancer. My grandmother had cancer, and my aunt was recently diagnosed with breast cancer. So I gave her that information.
Okay.
She, unbeknownst to me, she did my blood work, and she did a blood draw for a PSA sample, which is a prostate specific antigen. It's just a blood test, and that test, if the test is elevated in some way, it lets the doctor know that something is going on with your prostate. It may not necessarily be cancer. So initially she thought it was like a prostatitis, a prostate infection. Mm-hmm. So she said, I want you to take these pills. I took these pills for 2 months. The numbers didn't come down. They actually went up in that 2 months, and she got concerned and she sent me to a urologist. I found out from the urologist after they did a biopsy on my prostate that I had, at that time, they told me it was stage 1 prostate cancer.
Right.
Fast forward to June of 2019, which is when I had the surgery. So I was diagnosed in November 2018. I had surgery in June 2019. I didn't necessarily have to have it that fast, but I just chose to. It's like, you know what? I know I have it. Like, there's no point in waiting. I just chose to have it. So between that point, between November and June, it went from stage 1 to an aggressive stage 2.
Okay.
So when they actually took my prostate out and they dissected it, they were able to see, no, it was an aggressive stage 2. So that's why my message is, I never had symptoms. I only went to the doctor because it was my annual visit. I had no symptoms. I wasn't concerned about nothing, so I hope that that's a message to men everywhere, but definitely men who look like me. That, you need to go to the doctor and you need to take care of yourself. You have to do it. You got to do it. You got to move past that fear. Like I told you before, I can tell you that, I've been with my wife 17 years and she really got me in the habit of going to the doctor. Most time a woman will be the reason that a man goes to the doctor more.
That's a fact. That's a fact.
So here we are 17 years later, I've now gotten in the habit. She don't have to press me. I'm just I do it so annually that I don't have that same fear. I can see how a man, I tell my wife all the time, I couldn't imagine having not gone to the doctor in years. I would have that same fear because like you have no baseline. You don't know what's going on with you. So that's why I'm here to share my message. I share my message in so many ways. I'm a writer. I've done blogs. I've done podcasts. I've gone to Capitol Hill. I've lobbied for more research with prostate cancer. I sit on panels with scientists I'm just a regular person, but I sit on these panels as a regular person to give them insight specifically for research that's directed to Black men, because Black men get prostate cancer at a twice as high rate as any other man. Now, the research hasn't really revealed why yet, but the research definitely shows that it's affecting us much more than white men or any other man.
Right.
So that's why it's that much more important for me to be a big mouth and just tell whoever will listen, man, go to the doctor. And if you're a Black man, your doctor's probably not gonna choose to do it. You're probably gonna have to request it, but you need to go in there and say, hey, can I get a PSA test? It's just a blood test.
Right.
And that's where you start.
Yeah, because I think what it is a lot of people, once they hear prostate cancer or the prostate test, they're like, man, I don't want nobody sticking a blah, blah, blah up my butt. You know what I'm saying?
That's exactly where it goes every time. Right. I'm like, yo, come on. It's not that. I'm telling you, they're not going to do that. They're going to do a blood test first. Right. And if there's concern from the blood test, then they will do that. But they're not going to just do that. So just get that out your head. It's a blood test. It's just a simple blood test.
And so y'all heard it here on the podcast. It is a blood test first. So when y'all go out, PSA test. So when y'all go out and y'all talk to your family, your friends, anybody in your network about getting a prostate cancer test or getting your prostate checked, let them know that you don't have to get somebody going up your butt right away. Right. It's only if something is going crazy, like if you have not crazy, but if you actually have an issue, that then they will do that test. But then at that point, you want them to do that. Like,
that's what I was going to say too. Like, we just got to get away from that ignorance. Like, yo, if this going to save my life, G, just come on, man, whatever. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's not that. Just do what you got to do. I mean, I feel you, but like, come on, we got to let go of that ignorance. You know what I'm saying? Absolutely. But I'm here to let you know that's not going to be something that's going to get in your way now, because I done told you that they're not going to do that right off. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's going to be blood tests.
Mm-hmm. And I think it's so important that you said that, man, because like so many people right now are probably going to they're going to be shocked hearing that, because I was shocked hearing that. I was like, wait, it was a blood test first?
That's true.
That's true. I could get a blood test and get a check.
Now, you know what? Honestly, and I don't say that I know this, but I'm thinking that previously at some point maybe that is what they did, and maybe we've evolved to where they don't need to do that now because they can just take blood. I'm not sure. I just know at this day and age, you're gonna do a blood test.
Right. Okay.
And the thing about the blood test, the thing I want to say to all men, it's not you're not even really going in there to see if you got prostate cancer. What you're really doing more than anything is you're getting a baseline. So that means that if you're 33, you're just going in there to get this PSA test because you want to know what are the numbers. So it should be like 0.3. Say it's 0.3. Mm-hmm. So the next time you go and get that test, you know that number shouldn't go higher than that, because if it does, then you know that something needs to be, because it shouldn't be going up. It really shouldn't ever change.
Right. And see, and it's so important that you said that, because a lot of us don't have a baseline for what our numbers should look like. Like, a lot of people don't know what their blood oxygen level should look like. They don't know what their heart rate should look like. Like, I'm people, you know what I'm saying? Like,
I was just gonna say, my guy, I'm actually those people. Fam.
Yeah, like I'm part of that, but we should know these things, right? Like, we should be going to the doctor enough to understand that, yo, this is what it should look like. This is what it looked like last year. And then keep it pushing, because this is our physical body. Like, I know I talk about mental health a lot, but listen, you ain't got no mental if your physical is gone, and you don't have any physical, honestly, if your mental is gone, because they both play into each other, which is why I don't just always make the podcast episodes about mental health. Like, I talk about
mental health. You really doing a good thing with that, because that's such a major thing, and it affects us. As culturally, it's in our DNA, to have mental health issues on somewhere in the spectrum. So I mean, I don't feel like you could do it enough. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. That's true, man. So let's get back to the story. So you talked about how when you got the surgery, after you got the surgery, you found out something about your uncle. Can you take me a little bit through that?
Yeah. Okay. So and this goes back to another reason why I'm choosing, it's pressing me to be a big mouth. And I say a big mouth because typically you're not gonna find. I run into so many men who had prostate cancer and are survivors, and you wouldn't have known it otherwise. If I didn't have prostate cancer myself, they probably never would have told me that. You know what I mean?
Right.
So after surgery, about 6 weeks after surgery, I'm back at the office. I'm back at work. I had this routine of, when I first get to work, I call my parents. I call my uncle, usually my dad's only living brother. And for whatever reason, between November and June, when I knew I had cancer and I was preparing for surgery, I never talked to him about that. I don't know why, because we talked all the time. Mm-hmm. But after surgery, I called him and I was like, yo, and the light bulb just went off in my head. And I said, hey, did I ever tell you that I had prostate cancer? I said, I want to let you know, I'm a survivor now. I'm good. I'm back at work. But did I ever tell you that? He said, what? I mean, I can just hear him right now. Man, I had that too. And one thing I noticed about, like older people, they really don't like use the terminology. They won't like say it. You know what I mean? He's like, yeah, I had that too. And I'm like,
yeah, he won't say prostate cancer.
No, they don't speak to that thing. You know what I'm saying? I said, really? So naturally, my first question to him was, well, did my parents know? Because my parents know I had prostate cancer, and my parents came to my surgery. They were with me every step of the way. So I naturally wanted to know, like, did my dad not know? Did you not tell your brother? He said, oh yeah, they knew. I had it 5 years ago. And I'm like, wow, like my own parents wouldn't even share that with me, and I had it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I might could see them not sharing it prior. I mean, I still think that's kind of, but I might could see them not sharing it prior, because that's not really like necessarily like a conversation piece, especially not in the Black household. But at the point when I got it, I would think they would have definitely said, well, you need to talk to your uncle because he had that. And they didn't. Right. And I ended up circling back with them and asking them, like, why didn't y'all tell me? And they were just like, well, we just, essentially, I feel like it was like this whole, like, we didn't feel like it was our business to share. But man, bro, it's my bit. So I'm making my business, you know what I'm saying? I'm going to tell anybody who listen,
Right.
And too, because when it comes down to it, when you think about a prostate cancer patient or survivor, you don't really think of somebody that looks like me, and I know that. And so I hope that that's an advantage to get a man's attention to say, man, that he was a young man. He was 37. I was 37, and I had an aggressive stage 2 prostate cancer, and I had no symptoms, 0.
Right. Man, and like a lot of times when we hear cancer or any kind of like serious illness or disease, a lot of us, like especially in my generation, like younger generation, like we just chalk it up to, oh, that's for old people.
Yeah.
Right. I knew somebody my age, actually, like younger than this age now that I am, like younger than I'm 24 now. I knew somebody younger than 24, like when we were in high school, that had cancer. So it's like, yeah,
cancer was it?
I don't even know. I don't even know what it was. I just know that that person had cancer. And so it's like, we got to stop thinking that we are immune to like these diseases and
or
these
that
illnesses.
We're gonna live forever, or that we just never, nothing's gonna break down, like,
Yeah, like that stuff happens. And then to get back to your story with your uncle, we were talking about it, and we kind of stumbled upon the conversation about how there's this big problem with secrecy in Black families.
Man, yeah.
You go secrecy with trauma, secrecy with diagnoses, like, secrecy with just everything is a secret. It's not your business. Nobody needs to know.
Don't talk about nothing, and I can say, even myself, I'm 40 now, and I mean, honestly, I still struggle with being able to express, what I'm saying? It's because it's like this learned behavior that's just it was modeled, you know what I'm saying? And it's who I've been for most of my adult life. I mean, I express myself, but I'm just saying, not as much as I know I should or could. And it's primarily because that's just like a cultural thing. We just not accustomed to talking about this stuff that needs to be talked about.
Right. And the problem, especially with you in your situation, this is where the secrecy stuff backfires, right? Yeah. So your uncle had prostate cancer. Yes. When you go into the doctor, right? You're going into the doctor, they ask you about medical history, all of these different things, right? Because you weren't privy to that information, you told your doctor, yo, nobody in my family has cancer history. As a result, no prostate cancer history, right? As a result, that doctor takes that information and says he's low risk for prostate cancer because it doesn't run in his family. Now you're not getting tested for it. Luckily, you actually did, because your doctor just decided to do it for whatever reason. But if it was any other doctor, there's a high likelihood that they wouldn't have tested you. And then that stage 1 becomes stage 2, becomes stage 3, becomes stage 4. And now you're at risk. You get what I'm saying? And this is all because
you can put a lot of it on the fact that there's secrecy in Black families, and
Yeah,
it's a problem.
yeah, and because for me, my thing is, in my case, I do go to the doctor, so it definitely would have benefited me because I could have been being tested 5 years prior when he found out, because that's my dad's brother. That's
Right.
I mean, another thing, it's several reasons why I just choose to be a big mouth. I mean, as a Black man, I do understand that fear of going to the doctor. It doesn't prevent me from going, but I can see how it might be scary. I mean, I have an identical twin brother and an older brother who are 10 years older than me, and neither one of them have gone to get tested.
Mm-hmm.
And I had my surgery in 2019. I mean, I understand how it can be almost crippling. I'm thankful that I got past that years prior to this, and I've gotten in the habit of going to the doctor. But I just want to be that person to tell men like, yo, you at the end of the day, you got to be an advocate for yourself, and you got to take care of yourself. You just have to. You know what I'm saying? Whether you're aware of something going on or not.
Right.
Going to the doctor it shouldn't always be a reactive thing. You know what I'm saying? You should be proactive. That's the way you can live you can have a better quality of life. You're not doing yourself no favors by, ignoring things or just routinely going to the doctor. Like I say, it doesn't matter whether you have a symptom. That's not what the doctor's there for. I mean, they will help you when it's reactive, but you should be trying to just get ahead of things, because honestly, I'll say, I mean, because they caught it early. Now, it wasn't something that I was aware of, but thank God that my doctor chose to do it. But because they caught it early, that's why my quality of life is so much better than men who had prostate cancer. They had it longer, or they had like stage 3 or stage 4. They usually don't do as well after surgery. They have issues. Right. I have zero issues. It's almost like I never had surgery at all. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And that's a testament to early detection. And that goes back to why I'm telling men, get ahead of it. Just go to the doctor. I'm not telling you go when you feel something going. No, I'm telling you go regardless. And ask, hey, I feel great, but I'm here to get my checkup, and I want to get a PSA test too, because I want to get a baseline, use that terminology. Let them know you're aware of what's going on, and you want to be an advocate for yourself. There's nothing wrong with that. We got to get more knowledgeable, because you're not going to just magically live forever and just be fine forever. And things are going to start. Your body's like a car, at some point you're going to need to get some maintenance. Mm-hmm. And it's routine maintenance that you do before you notice things happening on the car. So
exactly.
I'm going in, bro. But
you speaking facts. I was just gonna say, like, people take care of their car better than they take care of their bodies, man. That's what you really had me thinking about. Like, I know people that take care of their cars better than their bodies, and that says a lot to what we value and what we place like a priority on in our community.
It's true. It's true.
Like, how you going to get an oil change quicker than you're going to set a doctor's appointment? That to me is wild.
I think with that doctor thing, I think what it is because, you don't go for so long, and then the space is so far apart that you just like, man, I don't know what them people gonna tell. Ain't no telling what they gonna, you just, you don't have that. Me, I mean, I know I just went, so it's cool. Like, all right, what's up? And I also know, well, I went a year ago, so if something happened, it happened between that time because I just went. It's not like I ain't, my message to Black men, man, bro, go to the doctor, bro. Like, just please go to the doctor.
Right.
And if you feel like something is wrong, don't hesitate to talk about it. Like, tell your doctor, yo, I got this going on. Like, whatever it is, that's what they're there for.
Absolutely. And so I think it's great to tell Black men, like, all right, go to the doctor. But there's a lot of Black men that's going to be listening. That's going to be like, okay, but how? Like, so obviously you've been going to the doctor for a while now. How did you get started? I know your wife helped a lot, but like, what were some things that helped you to get started, and some things that helped you to kind of break down that barrier of going?
Man, well, okay, I'm gonna tell you, and like I say, y'all, brothers, I'm y'all, I am you. Okay. Mm-hmm. When I met my lady, 2 weeks before I met my lady, I dropped a fiberglass clipboard on my big toe. my big toe ended up, in that 2-week period, it started to change colors. The toenail came off. Then I meet my chick, right? She's around me. I don't want her to see that. I just met her. You know what I'm saying? I don't want her to see this toe. So whenever she's around me, I got socks on for maybe 2 strong weeks. Then one day she was at my house and I accidentally didn't have a sock on, and she bugged because by this time the toenail came off. It just came off.
Mm-hmm.
She was like, yo, what, you know what I'm saying? You got insurance,
tripping.
Why wouldn't you go? She just told me straight like that. Why wouldn't you go to the doctor? What's, and I'm like, man, I'm like, it's fine. It don't hurt. It's,
mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? We all do that. It's good, She's like, nah. And so, I was in that instance, I just met her, you know what I'm saying? I hear what she's saying. It makes sense. And I went, and I think that's what really got me into it, but I know it's really nothing other than me saying, to get you to go, because I'm telling you, it's nothing, no one's gonna hurt you. No one's there to give you any disease. That's not what it's about. You are going in there to say, hey, I feel okay, but I want to get full blood work done. I want to make sure everything's good with me. And I also want to get a PSA test to specifically test for prostate cancer, and I'm telling you to test for that because that's what I had. And it affects Black men twice as much as other men. So that's why I'm specifically telling you to ask for that test, because it could, just because you don't feel something going on doesn't mean you don't have it.
Right.
And so that, that's really all I can do to empower you to go, is to just tell you, man, listen, from brother to brother, bro, come on, if ain't nobody never told you, you need to go just because you need to take care of yourself. That's overall, Absolutely. That's what it's about, Yeah. It was only because I was going to the doctor that I even arrived at this doctor. And that's a whole separate story, of how I magically got this doctor who I didn't even ask to check me for prostate. She did it, and it turns out I had cancer,
Right,
it's my first time meeting this woman. So that,
right.
That's something altogether different, but that's all I can tell you, man.
Nah, absolutely.
Man, we can be, it don't take a lot for us to understand each other. I don't need to have this long drawn out, beautiful speech. I'm just telling you, man, the man is, you need to go because that's what you need to do to take care of yourself.
Absolutely. And then if we look at your story, we can honestly say, if you didn't go to the doctor, not even that, I wouldn't even word it that way. We can say going to the doctor changed your quality of life, if not saved your life.
Yeah. I always say, if I wasn't going to the doctor regularly, I can almost predict how this would have turned out. Because prostate cancer is so silent in its earlier stages, it wouldn't have been until I was stage 3 or 4 that I would have started to notice something myself. And at that point, because that's another thing too. Cancer it starts in my prostate, right? But if it stays there and it grows, it can actually leave my prostate and affect other organs in my body, which is how you may have heard the term that the cancer metastasized. That means that it went from one area to another area. So that was another blessing in me catching it early, because it never left my prostate. So when they took my prostate out, something I wouldn't have wanted, as a man, that's who we are. Our prostate is who we are. You know what I'm saying? Mm. I would have loved to keep it, but it's got cancer. It's got to go. And it was a blessing that they were able to take it. And the cancer was fully contained, is the term they used.
Right.
So I don't have to, I can almost, God, Lord willing, I can almost guarantee that I likely won't have any recurring prostate cancer.
Right. No. And that's dope, man. That's so beautiful. And if you guys gain nothing else from this episode, please take this with you. Go to the doctor. Be proactive, not reactive about your mental health, your physical health, because at the end of the day, we all like to talk about how much we're providers and we take care of everybody else, and we want to make sure that everybody's good, but everybody can't be good if you're not good, right? You can't make sure everybody's good if you're not good. And one thing I say all the time is that you cannot keep on making everybody else the main character of your story. You have to be the main character of your story in all facets. That means taking care of yourself mentally, physically, financially, emotionally, spiritually, all of those different things. And that's what I try to make sure that I'm doing with the podcast. So, brother, man, I appreciate you. I just want you to just drop where people can find you, where they can learn a little bit more, all that good stuff.
You can check me out. I mean, you can, my name is Mical Roy on Instagram. I'm family_twin1. You can follow me through Instagram and you can check my story there. Other than that, you can search my name and you can find different blogs that I've done, different articles that I've done, different podcasts that I've been on. Mical, Mical, last name Roy, Roy. So it's good to be here, man. It's good to add to this melting pot of goodness that you keep putting out here, man. And I hope that it's been a blessing. If it's been a blessing to one brother, I've done my job.
And it definitely will be. Mical, I appreciate you, bro.
I appreciate you too, man. Later.
Thank you for taking the time out to listen to this episode. I truly, truly, truly appreciate you. So I really hope you got some valuable insight. And I hope I helped in some capacity, whether it be through the platform or the podcast. If you like to support for free, you can like this video if you're on YouTube, or you can share and subscribe regardless of what platform you're listening to the episode on. If you like to support monetarily, now we talking, you can go to shop.expressyourselfblackman.com and get yourself some merch. We have a hoodie, we have sweatsuits, we have shirts, we have hats. We also have an ebook on how to heal, where I discuss breakups, depression and suicidal ideations, anxiety, and attachment styles. I go in depth about my story with dealing with all of those things, and then I explain how to heal in an easy guide. It's easy to follow. It's easy to go from reading to implementing. So if you're interested in that as well, it's in the shop. The book is called From Hurting to Healing, A Black Man's Guide to Feeling. So consider supporting monetarily, but regardless of how you support, I appreciate you. I hope you have a great day.
Sometimes I know you feel like you ain't got nobody to speak to. A shoulder to lean on somebody you could preach to. No, you need to hear it, my brother, I love you. We got way too much to live for. We got way too much to live for. When we get it all, we want
like
more.
You lost another one.
When we get it, still we want more. I know it's hard, but you just gotta push on through. Only Brody always tryna bring you. If you ever feeling down, bro, you're never alone. If you ever feeling down, you can always hit my phone. If you ever feeling down, bro, you're never alone. Okay, hey, I'm your shoulder to lean on. Express yourself, distress yourself. I don't wanna talk about me, tell me how you feeling well. Since you know that you alive, but this earth feeling